Liz, can you put yourself on, not gallery, but full face?
How do I do that?
It's the same way you did the other.
Oh, there we go.
And that way we'll see you.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Maybe
Just
we all have to do
turn
it.
turn your phone sideways. See if that does.
Okay.
My friend Mary and I went to the
I wanted you to see the cardinals on my sweater. Oh, there we go. Okay.
I'll keep my cat away from him.
So, a
Okay.
little background. In 2007, Ted and I went to Western Samoa to see his son, Ethan, who was working in the Peace Corps as a volunteer. And we went to visit Robert Louis Stevenson's house.
Oh,
And Robert Louis Stevenson wrote Treasure Island. Well, I was looking for Christmas prayers, and lo and behold, I found a lovely prayer by Robert Louis Stevenson that I'd like to share with you. Loving Father, help us remember the birth of Jesus, that we may share in the songs of the angels, the gladness of the shepherds, and worship of the wise men. Close the door of hate and open the door of love all over the world. Let kindness come with every gift and good desires with every greeting. Deliver us from evil by the blessings which Christ brings, and teach us to be merry with clear hearts. May the Christmas morning make us happy to be thy children, and Christmas evening bring us to our beds with grateful thoughts, forgiving and forgiven, for Jesus' sake. Amen.
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 Oh,
That's
so
very nice.
beautiful. Well, I am going to go on my tech adventure, and we're going to see a Pema song that they did just for us. And please cross your fingers that everything goes well. Hi, Julia.
There's
Hi.
Julia. Here's a hat.
Hi.
Hat.
Yeah.
All right, off we go on our adventure.
Hi, Darlene.
Remember, if it doesn't work, I've got the backup too.
Oh, thanks, Evie. Just a minute, I'm exploring. I'll be there eventually.
Still trying to stay Helen Lindgren.
I'm still listening.
She's trying to figure out her camera and she hasn't been able to find the camera icon.
It's just different. I've never seen this before. I don't know what to do.
One of the corners of the screen.
I'm getting news broadcasts, everything else, but I can still.
Oh. Sorry, I have the wrong thing. So just a minute, I got carried away.
It was pretty.
You guys are so understanding. Thank you.
That's us.
And by the way, I'm going to send that Judy Collins YouTube to you all because I just found out you couldn't see her. And that's half of the joy of it. So I will send that to you on your email and you'll be able to open it and see something wonderful.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Starting
see
over.
No, I see.
No.
Good afternoon to you ladies of Women in Spirituality.
Is it good?
Our first song today is very appropriate for the Advent season.
I'm
This
not.
is Song of Mary, written by Gilbert Martin. The Song of Mary is actually a version of the Magnificat.
That's beautiful.
Thank
That's
you.
Did
beautiful.
it work?
Just
Yes.
beautiful.
That was very nice. Thank you.
I'm getting the gist of it, but it's a slow learning process. All right. Evie, do you want to tell us anything about where you did that?
Well,
And
that was
when
at,
you did it?
just a minute. Am I, okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
That was filmed with just, our iPhone, my iPhone, at Alison Gulow's house in West Lynn. She has a lovely, I forget what kind of piano it is, but it's just beautiful, beautiful sound. And she is so talented. And Pema, our group has still been meeting. I know with trepidation with the COVID, but we are in a large living room. It's a very large house. And I think mentally health wise, we just wanted to do it. I joined the group back later in the summer, but Pam and Ann just couldn't stand it. So they joined back, I don't, June or something. I didn't join back till about August.
Okay.
We did lose Marcy in the terms of she had a lot of caregiving for her mother in Illinois, and then of course, sadly, her mother has died.
Oh,
Just with October, I believe she died. So she couldn't go. She didn't choose to go back for any kind of service because of how the numbers. So, anyways, we're missing a middle voice, and we're kind of on a search for that. But
Well, it's beautiful. And we have to move on to Kathleen here.
Sure.
And Kathleen, I'm going to feature you here, speaker. Let's see, where are you? Did it wrong.
Here's it.
First I have to find you and then I have to
Is
feature.
Marcy okay? Marcy's okay.
Yeah.
Marcy's doing just fine, but when you lose your mom, it's a real downer.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I-
Well,
Thank you.
Kathleen, I can't feature you on speaker right now, but go ahead. You wanted to say?
So I was going to present the colors of Advent. Do you want to put that on your?
Yeah, you can speak while I get it all situated.
Okay. So they're just some photos that I had from our trip to New Zealand, as well as some sunrises in Cape Cod, and again about a week ago, one of their sunrises.
Ooh.
So the colors of Advent, and I like this photo because it picks up the rose and the blues and the whites. Okay, ready? Next.
Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous picture. Let's see.
And the other thing that I wanted to emphasize is we always think of Advent being this time of year where it's getting darker and darker, but in the Southern Hemisphere, it's coming into their summer. So it's how do you get prepared?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I went too fast.
Okay. So
we're on white. What? Nope. It's acting really squirrely, Kathleen.
Can you
Just a
go?
minute. Okay. There we go.
So the colors of Advent, blue is used to symbolize penitence. No one's quite certain whether blue or purple is more meaningful for getting for a contrite spirit. However, blue is also used for penitential preparation as an Advent, and is traditionally the color assigned to the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I just loved how that was Cape Cod on a sunrise.
Oh,
Rose is the liturgical color of the third Sunday of Advent, known as
Gaudete.
and from the Latin word to rejoice ye, and the first word of the introit of this Sunday, and it's a pause to be penitential spirit of Advent. And that was last Monday's sunrise.
Mm.
In Lake Oswego?
Westland, looking
Yeah.
to the east. White is used as a symbol of purity. We light the white candle on Christmas Day to celebrate Christ's birth. And white is the presence of all colors. And I just love that picture of the mountains in New Zealand and the clouds and the lake.
Gorgeous. I would have said Lake Tahoe.
There we are.
So my husband has played St. Nicholas for the last 12 to 15 years. So why are St. Nicholas's vestments purple? Good. And so
Ooh, beautiful.
on that vestment is a beautiful cross.
Mm.
And then on the back of the
No, cancel. Okay, just click. Yeah, you got it.
okay, and then next one, Kathy.
Okay.
And so the back of the coat is this beautiful, again, purple symbolism. Okay, let's do the next one.
And is that his, Kathleen?
Well, no, well, it's our church's Lenten vestments.
Okay.
And then this was the mitre that he wore. And it was made, and let's go to the next slide. So the reason, so I talked to Susie, why are we wearing purple? And she said the vestment was actually a Lenten vestment. We started using them for St. Nicholas for two reasons. First and foremost was for convenience. We used to use a red coat that had all the stones on it, and it was very heavy. And we're having to share it with another parish on the same weekend. And it became a hassle going to pick up late Saturday night so we could use it Sunday morning. So Shannon felt like we could go to our own vestments that has purple in it, because purple is the color for bishops.
Okay, I thought so.
And Georgia Oss whipped up the hat for us that matched the vestments.
That's good.
And Chris was saying he can remember when they were sharing it. Shannon wanted St. Nick to be transformed. And so Shannon had his father's old Calvary cape, and Chris was gonna have that over the bishop's thing to go from being a man to a bishop, and that transformation. Well, that, instead of getting the red coat, what he got was Mrs. St. Nicholas's dress.
I guess that's transformation.
Yeah. And Shannon says, Chris, you don't have to go through it. He says, no, Shannon, I'll go through with this. And so he gets dressed and he does his St. Nicholas thing. And a little boy looks at Chris and goes, why are you wearing a dress? And Chris looks at him straight now, goes, it's not a dress. He asked him a couple more times, why are you wearing a dress? And Chris just got so embarrassed because he had to lie to this poor little boy being St. Nicholas. So that's how we ended up with the vestments.
Oh, well, thanks so much for doing that, and teaching us about that. Let me see, Jan is next with her marvelous PowerPoint Christmas show. Where are you, Jan? I don't see your face.
I'm coming on my screen. I'm
Oh,
right
there
next
you are.
to you.
Okay. All right, here I go with it. Oh, she's the one sharing this time.
Okay. Hopefully my neuropathy will not cause too much trouble here.
Oh. Wow.
Love came down at Christmas. Love, love me, love divine. Love was born at Christmas. Star and angels gave the sign. Worship we the Godhead, love incarnate, love divine. Worship we our Jesus, but wherewith for sacred sign. Love shall be our token, love be yours and love be mine. Love to God and neighbor, love for plea and gift and sign.
So,
Lovely.
So
That was
beautiful.
gorgeous, Jan.
Oh, so beautiful.
I
I feel
just,
like, I feel like that should be on our Zoom Christmas service, maybe. at the
Amen.
beginning and
Agree.
the end. I just think our whole church would love to see that beautiful.
Yeah.
well,
I
I'm
agree,
so,
Carol.
so glad you saw it. And it is one of my favorite hymns. I wanted to share just a couple of things. One, the verse about glory that has some astronomy kind of Hubble photographs are pictures of what is astronomers call a glory, and it looks like a halo around a star.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is at the end when I had the choral version of Love Came Down at Christmas, and on the second verse there was a woman's face, and that's actually a portrait of Christina Rossetti, who wrote
Oh,
the
Wow.
lyrics for that. And I think my two favorite verses in there are the one about that's kind of alluding to no room at the inn and the homeless people. And
Yeah.
the other was the one about wonder and awe and joy and finding faces that express that. And I guess the last thing I want to share for those of you who came in late is my Hawaiian dress here.
oh.
Oh, there, get my thumb off the camera.
Beautiful.
And Thank you so much for letting me share that.
Oh, that was very
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you.
Beautiful, thank
Very
you.
nice.
Very, very nice.
Absolutely beautiful, Jan.
Thank you.
Well, this is a point when I hope some of you are going to be willing to share something about your Christmas, whether it's a special ornament or a decor item or a tradition. And does anyone want to be brave and be number one? Oh, thank you, Sydney. You are wonderful. Thank you.
I was so shy as a kid, and I was terrified to give speeches, and so I learned if I did it first, I didn't have to agonize for so long. But I was terribly shy. This version of A Christmas Carol, I don't know if you can see it. It's one from, I think it's 52 or 51. It has Alistair Sim as Scrooge.
Yes.
Back in the old days, you couldn't pick what you would watch. This usually played at Christmas time on Channel 9, where they showed old movies back east in New York and New Jersey. And we loved this version. And my sisters and I would look for this every Christmas. And no other Scrooge is as good as Alistair Sim. Want you to know this, I don't have a DVD player anymore, but I kept this forever. I found it on Netflix. And so since we're all separated and we can't be together, we're all gonna, there's some program that my sister knows of where you can all do a watch party. I rented on Netflix, and so on Christmas, my sister and her family in Pennsylvania and New York, and my sister in Denver, and my kid in DC, and my kids here, we're all going to watch it together.
What a good idea.
Oh, nice.
It's a very moving version, and it shaped a lot of the way I feel about life and about faith and loving people and what it means to. I know one of the lines, I know all the lines in the entire movie and the Dickens story, but one of them is mankind was my business. Mankind was my business. And the ghost of Christmas present opens his cape and says, but beware most of these two children that are under his robes. This one is want and this one is ignorance.
Oh.
But be most afraid of the boy because he was ignorant. And it really, I don't know, it just has had such an impact on me. I think of it often. So that's my little tradition.
Thanks, Sydney.
Nice. Thank you.
We watched it last night, the black and white movie.
Yeah, the one with Alistair Sim was label, 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 label.
Yes.
Best Scrooge ever.
Oh, Cheryl has her hand up. Thank you, Cheryl.
Oh, well, about 18 years ago, this is one of our newer traditions, when our daughter-in-law first came into our life as a girlfriend and now mother of our grandchildren. She is a young girl who was raised in Poland, and Christmas Eve was very, very important to her. And the first time Ryan brought her home from college, I saw her kind of withdraw on Christmas Eve. And she was just silently, just a few tears in her eyes. So I had this talk with her, and she was explaining that Christmas Eve is so important in the Polish tradition in her family. She was raised Catholic, but she said our dinner is so special. It's sort of the highlight of Christmas. We have 12 different dishes signifying the coming new year, new months. We all help participate. The youngest child, when he sees, or she, the first star, that's when we eat. And just a cracker that you go around the table and you say, what is special about Christmas time? What do you love? Just one thing. And we have 14 of us around the table. So, you know, it's pretty simple. I love my family, or, you know, whatever. And then you take like a piece of bread, almost like communion, and pass it. Well, now what we do, we all get together and make pierogies, because that's what her grandmother always did.
Oh, cool.
So we make the dough, all the kids are lined up, you know, handling big sheets of pasta, and then somebody does the cutting. We all change roles and get to do different parts of it. And then somebody else, she cooks for 2 days, making the mushroom and onion and all fillings. And somebody does the filling, And then somebody is arranging them in flour and all and ready to put them in and boil them. And so it's a work party of all of us. Even the youngest children are involved in it. And I love it so much. It's one thing that I will truly miss this year because we're all in our own homes. But it's made it really special for our family. There's a lot of others, but I really love that one.
I love that too.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm looking for a hand and
Jan.
Jan.
I would like to show you my decorations. I'm going to turn my computer around here. And my
Yeah.
help me know that I'm
Yeah.
at a good angle. Can you see in the picture of me?
Yeah.
Hi, Dan's daughter.
Hi, Danny.
So my tree is decorated mostly with.
Jan, you're losing the sound. You have to stay right with your microphone.
Okay. I'll turn around and now I'll tell you that most of the ornaments on my tree are by the Oregon artist Marguerite Furlong, and they look like seashells. And I bought the first one the year we had our Christmas at Moclips on the beach north of Ocean Shores, and my daughters were babies, and we gathered flotsam and jetsam that we found on the beach, but I also got the Marguerite Furlong ornament and started that, and then my mother gave me one every year after that. And at the bottom of the tree there's a white sand dollar hanging, and I bought 3 of those in Hawaii, one for each of my daughters and one for me, so we'd all have the same ornament on our tree.
Oh, pretty.
That's really sweet.
Wonderful.
I love Moclips. I don't know hardly anybody who's ever been there but me.
Yes,
Isn't it
my
lovely?
in-laws had a.
Go ahead.
my-
Were you done, Jan? Are you still?
Well, I was just going to respond to Sydney's comment that my in-laws had a condo there. So when we moved out from New York, we lived there for about 4 months, and that was in the fall and the winter. So, yeah.
All right, we have Elaine.
Oh, I was just going to say that my dad was from Hoquiam, was born in Hoquiam, and I moved down there when I was a tiny baby. And we had some friends who had a cranberry bog that we visited every year for many, many years. And it was between Ocean Shores and Moclips. So I've been there many times. My Christmas tree, which is going up this afternoon, will be filled with ornaments that I have gotten over the years. Other than red balls, everything is different. I have some that were my grandmother's, and I have a couple of those Margaret Furlong as well. And then it's tinsel all over the tree. It looks very different, but my dad has some pictures of himself in front of a Christmas tree when he was young, and it had lots and lots of tinsel on it. So that's it.
Thanks. All right, I'm going to gallery so I can see. And Mary Lou, I see you, and then I see Evie after that, and then we'll see.
Well, I just want to say that the music we've heard today and the earlier one with the Cherry Tree Carol, just so reminiscent and beautiful, so deep that it reaches at Christmas. And when I grew up, my sisters and my mother and I were all in the church choir and would sing on Christmas Eve. This was a Lutheran church. That's what we did. Christmas morning was an entirely different thing, but the music and the service of the evening was beautiful. Sometimes we would go into Trinity and go to the midnight service, which was terrific. So the service here at Christ Church, of course, is wonderful too. And now my sister and her family have over the years come down, and they don't attend church, but we would sneak out, I guess, go and hear it. I'm hoping that there will be an evening service here, but whatever it is, we have Libby, our younger daughter, just flew in from North Carolina, and she will be with us. So Libby and I love to sing and harmonize, and we'll have that. Anyway, the music comes through.
Music.
That is our tradition.
Beautiful. Let's see, Evie, I think, and then Bobby. Okay, Evie?
I was just going to show, it's not a tradition, but it's a picture of mom and dad when they were ski bums in Aspen. 1950, Saint Sauveur, Canada. And I guess this was in Canada, but when they started off their young life, they were ski bums in Aspen. So mom gave this to Jenny, and I love old pictures of family. So I just wanted to share it with you.
Thanks, Evie. And then who did I say, Bobby?
Yeah.
Let me find you, Bobby. There you are.
Cliff used to give me silver bells every year, so I have quite a collection. And I always had a Christmas tree, but this year is the first year that I'm not putting a tree up. But I do have some candles in each of the windows. They're really fun. I got them at Hallmark or at Bed Bath & Beyond. You put the batteries in them and you turn the light bulb on, and it stays on for several hours, and then it turns off and it comes back the next night until you turn them off. And I've really been enjoying those. Then a friend, actually my realtor, gave me a beautiful large poinsettia. And so I've got some color, and then I put lights on the 2 rhododendrons and Cliff's camellia outside. It's a hillside camellia. So I'm enjoying that.
I love that, Bobby.
I will be
love
here
that.
by myself, but that's the way it is right now.
Right. Well, I'll share my story. Let me see. I'm trying to put the speaker on. I need to probably ask you. I haven't stopped recording. Is this okay with you? Or do you
Yes.
want me- I like these stories. I think they're so sweet, and I don't see why we shouldn't be telling them on for a recording. Well, okay. So can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Paul and I don't have family together, except, we're second marriage and all that. So we have a tradition of, just a minute, I've got to fix something. We have a tradition of buying ornaments when we go somewhere. So this is Quebec,
Oh.
little moose. This is Hawaii last year.
Oh.
And this one is really special. It's from, I'm trying to you can make it speaker, but so you can see better. But it's from Chimayo in New Mexico. And are you familiar with that story?
No.
It's a healing place. And it's the Pueblo Indians who used to live there. I'm going to try to make it so you can see the scene, but I really don't know. It's a little church.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the story was that the Pueblo Indians found this spot to be a healing place back in prehistorical times. But in 1810, a peasant was out on a walk in the evening, apparently, and he saw a bright light. And he went to go find the light and see what that was. And it turned out it was a cross with a figure of Christ on it, and he was black or dark. And so he told people, and they all came to look at it as some kind of miracle thing. And so the church people took things in their hands and took the crucifix to their church. Well, the next day it disappeared, and guess where it was? Back in the spot out in the valley. So this happened 3 or 4 times where they tried to take the crucifix to the church and it kept going back to its own spot. And so they erected a sanctuary there, and it's called like a second Lourdes. And nowadays that you just see the dirt pit where the cross used to be. And I'm not sure cross is, maybe it's inside the church, but they call it healing dirt. And when people go there, like on a pilgrimage, you can get down close to the spot and pick it up and rub it in your hands. And that's the tradition. So Paul and I went there, and that's what we did. And then they didn't sell anything like this there, but we found it. So it's our memorial. It's called Chamayo, New Mexico.
Chamayo.
All right.
Nice.
Let's see who else would like to speak. I see Diana and Holly. Let's start with Diana.
All righty. I'm going to go way back into my childhood and tell you that I used to spend 2 weeks at a time with my grandma, and I totally loved her. And she made me take a nap every day, and she had pink sheets, and she had this crocheted bedspread.
Oh, beautiful.
And I would
Beautiful.
Here's what a weird kid I was. I would go get my grandma's silver, sterling silver, and I would bring it, and I would take out 2 or 3 pieces, and I would sleep with them.
Oh.
I don't know why, but I did. So after my grandmother died, my mom had it, and I told her that I'd like to have it, after she passed. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I don't care anything about that kind of stuff. Take it now." Well, it's Wallace Rose Point.
Pretty.
And it has a French blade, which you don't see many of anymore. They have the more updated blade, and it was a service for 8. And so for 2 years, I saved my money, and I bought it up to a place setting for 12. And then I even bought steak knives to go with it.
Oh, wow.
So this is my absolute favorite thing. All of my family knows that for every special occasion, we use the Wallace Rose Point sterling silver. And during the 2 years that I bought it, it was at a jewelry store in Oklahoma City, happens to be the oldest one in Oklahoma. And for those 2 years, they would send me a Christmas present of a Lenox plate, and it has the date and everything on the back. So I get my plates out every year, and we use our sterling silver.
Oh, how nice.
Oh, I love it.
So that's me.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Anna. And so then it was Holly next, I do believe.
Okay, this.
Holly, we don't see you anymore.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, now we do. Now we do.
Yeah, we do.
Do you see this little doll?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is an ornament of a Santa Lucia doll. Santa Lucia is celebrated in Scandinavia on December 13th, which would have been yesterday. And some of you knew my mother, and she had black curly hair, and most people thought she was Italian or Greek, but she was actually half Norwegian and half Swedish. And so we celebrated a lot of Swedish customs and Norwegian. And we would dance around the tree on Christmas Eve to Santa Lucia music. And we had lots of krumkaka and pepparkaka, different desserts that were Scandinavian. And we did celebrate a little bit Santa Lucia Day. Sometimes somebody would make some saffron buns, and we'd have chocolate, and we never wore the wreath. The wreath is with real candles, which was pretty intriguing. But anyway, and we had Swedish chimes. Some of you might know those. So our Christmas growing up was filled with all kinds of Scandinavian traditions.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, thanks. Let's see. Does anyone else want to share?
Can you hear my voice?
Do you want to
Yeah.
share, Helen? We can hear you.
Yeah, well, I'll just share one custom when our children were growing up. We always, every Christmas Eve, always on Christmas Eve, because we went to the midnight service, even when the children were quite small. It wasn't midnight, it was 11, but still. Anyway, but before that, we had a simple supper, usually. That's another story. I better stay out of that. Anyway, the children would act out the holy story the way they remembered it, or the way they studied it the last time that they talked about it in church. And this was a custom for years. Then another custom of ours that kind of tied in with it is that the World Affairs Council every year was looking for someone that would share their home with people that were from foreign countries that have no place to go, or who would like to share with an American family. So we had invited the people for 5 years, and it's always been a wonderful experience. I won't go into them now. I'll only tell you about the one time that someone accepted our invitation, and this person was from, all he would say was an African country. So, but we welcomed him, and he had dinner with us. He said very little. We asked him a question or two, and he'd answer it with about 4 words. And then after supper, my husband said, well, you don't seem to be very comfortable with the Christian traditions, which is fine. If you'd like me, I can take you I'll take you back to the hotel now after dinner. And he said, no, I want to see what you're doing. And so we kind of gulped, all of us, but we again presented our little Christmas pageant as we always had. And we had only 3 children in our family, but 2 children from a neighbor's family had joined us frequently, and they were there that night too. So the children had a little walk up to where we'd set up a small place to worship that would look kind of like sort of like a stable. and the children put all their little hearts into what they were presenting. The 2 little girls, one of them carried the baby, which was a beautiful little doll of some kind, and the other was her attendant. And she said, I'm substituting. She turned around and said, I'm substituting tonight for Joseph. So anyway, they finished their little service, and there was suddenly just a glowing light, a simple glowing light behind us coming from outside. We didn't think about what had caused it. It just came at the right moment. And we all said, oh, well, the end of the story is this. The man that was visiting us from Africa said, I've never seen anything like this. He said, I've never seen people get along in a family. I've never seen children allowed to worship or be with adults. anyway, that's really the end of the story, except that all the way back, my husband said to the hotel, he kept saying, I didn't ever think I'd see this. I didn't ever think I'd see this.
Oh,
That's amazing.
that's, yeah. He was touched.
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you,
indeed.
Helen.
Thank you, Helen.
And who else? Oh, it was Julia. Thanks, Julia. Go ahead.
Can't hear you.
Julia, you're on mute. Julia, you're on mute.
Okay. When my daughter was about 9, my older daughter, we were getting out all the decorations for the tree, and the star looked very sad, in sad shape. So she had learned to make God's eyes in school, and we found some wood and some yarn, some yellow yarn, and she made this large God's eye that we have used for the star ever since. And it was really felt special again this year to put that up. So we've used it every year since.
What colors are they?
It's yellow, it's wooden, a cross of wood, wooden dowels, I guess you'd say, and then yellow yarn that she weaved all around to make the God's eye.
Just yellow? Oh, neat.
Just yellow.
Neat.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm looking at everyone to see if there's any more hands up.
Liz.
Liz.
Oh,
Hello.
Sorry, Liz.
Hi.
All right.
A lot of what you've said, we have done in our family as well. And Diana with setting her table with the silver and the lace tablecloth. Oh my, I look forward so much to having a big dinner with all the family here and really celebrating. Well, this year, Ted and I are just alone by ourselves. And so I really didn't even want to decorate. I just thought nobody's coming, so why bother? But I talked to my cousin and she said, Liz, you've got to do it for the spirit of Christmas and your heart of when you get up in the morning and you put those lights on, it will lift your spirits. And Christmas is about that and love and sharing. So Ted and I had a wonderful time. It took almost all day to decorate our little artificial tree. It's very small and modest, but if I can, I'm going to turn around and just show you. He has some ornaments that came from his grandmother and maybe even great grandmother. And so we put those on every year. So bear with me while I turn around if I can do it.
Thank you all. Merry Christmas to everyone. I have to go. I've got another meeting. So.
Oh, sure.
Thanks for coming, Darlene.
Yes, Darlene.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Darlene.
A peacock with little feathers, if you can tell that that's a peacock. And the little yarn Santa Claus, I think was made by his great grandmother. And these beautiful little glass balls. There are several of them that come from his family legacy. So that's my story. Thank you for listening.
Oh, thanks, Liz. Okay, I'm looking at the gallery for hands. I see Carol's with us. Hi, Carol.
I think Mary wanted to say something.
Oh, Mary, I didn't see your hand.
Oh, that's okay. I'm still figuring out this, but anyway, can you see this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how many of you know this, but this is a menorah with the Star of David. And this was my husband's. I believe his mother and father got it for him when he bar mitzvahed, probably 1960. So it's been around for a little while.
Beautiful.
This
It is
This
beautiful.
year, this is Hanukkah right now, and tonight is the 5th night. So I've been lighting the menorah every night, and my daughter is lighting one that one of her customers gave her. But I light it every Hanukkah for the miracle of Hanukkah, but also in memory of my husband who passed away about 5.5 years ago. So I just wanted to share something. He was crazy about Christmas, crazy about Christmas. We had to have a huge live tree every year. There were not many Jewish people in his neighborhood on the Queen Anne Hill area of Seattle. I live outside of Seattle. And his dad was in the plywood business. The dad was much more, had been raised as a Reformed Jew, always wanted to do the plywood Santa and sleigh on the roof. But my husband's mother, who had been raised Orthodox, said, no. But, and of course, in school way back then, you sang Christmas carols, everybody sang Christmas carols. So he knew them all. So we always had a good time doing both. We didn't do the menorah for a few years. I kind of encouraged that because Christmas is American. Everyone knows about Christmas. Not everyone, but most people know about Christmas and Easter, the 4th of July. But not everyone knows about Hanukkah, Passover, Purim, and things like that. So we exposed our kids to that. We did not do a formal religious education for them. But anyway, I'm really glad that this year, right at this beautiful time of year of Advent, I also get to light the candles for the menorah.
It's really beautiful.
Oh, good. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And some years back, I was volunteering at an all-volunteer nonprofit thrift store, and a customer came in. She'd picked a complete duplicate of this and brought it up to the counter and was so excited. She said, "Oh my gosh, I'll have someplace to put my Christmas candles." And I wanted so badly to say, "I'm sorry, I can't sell this. I have to buy it myself."
Jesus was a Jew.
Yes.
That was his mother.
Ladies, thank you so much, but I also have to sign off for now. And it was very nice to see you all. I wish you all a happy New Year as well as Merry Christmas.
I just want to
Thank
say,
you.
before you leave, Barry, oh, she left. I just wanted to tell her one.
They want to give Carol time to talk. Carol,
Yes, let me just, okay, I'll just save it because it's a funny little story.
Well, you can go ahead and cut off the recording. It's okay.
Okay.
No, Carol, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. All right, am I on? When I was growing up, my father, we always had a very big Christmas. My father loved Christmas. And my mother would do most of the Christmas shopping. But then my dad would go out right before Christmas and he'd buy a special present for everybody and have it beautifully gift wrapped at the store and bring it home. So that was always a bonus. And he had a real knack for picking out something very special for a person. And we always opened our packages on Christmas Eve. The story they gave me when I was a kid was that, well, since Santa had to go all over the world delivering presents on one night, that meant he had to go some places early. And so maybe if we went out for a ride to look at the Christmas lights, Santa would come while we were gone. So we would get in the car, and my mom would always be the last one in the car. And that was because inside she was getting the packages out and strewing them under the tree, which I didn't know at the time. But that way we would come back and, oh my gosh, Santa had come. So we'd open the presents on Christmas Eve. I think it was partly because my dad couldn't stand to wait till Christmas morning. But also because then my parents didn't have to get up real early. And, you know, we always went to the midnight Christmas Eve service. Many of you know that I have a big creche collection. So all of our ornaments are up. We're fully decorated. If you look around, you've got all of the Christmas trees lit. I can't see myself on the big screen, so are you seeing it?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
All the trees are up, all the creches are out. We were going to go to Ethiopia this spring, and that trip, of course, got canceled. So since I didn't get to Ethiopia, we brought Ethiopia to us. And I went online and I bought a little mini Ethiopian
Oh,
icon
That's
of
so sweet.
the Madonna
they-
and the Annunciation. So that was one of my, I usually get a creche from or something from wherever I travel. So I probably will never get to Ethiopia, but I did get the little icon. And the final thing is our trees, and we have actually 4 trees set up. A big live one and one I call my religious tree, which is all sort of creches and those kinds of figures, and my pagan tree, which has all of our travels, and a bird tree and a mini tree. And so we have lots of gorgeous ornaments. And the one I'm going to show you is the ugliest one I've got. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I was working as a grader at Elmira College, and they had a Christmas bazaar by one of the guilds or something. And so I felt like I had to go. So I went down, Tom and I went, we walked all over it, and they had really crappy stuff. But I felt like, I get a small paycheck from these people, I ought to buy something. So finally, kind of at the very end of the day, I bought this pine cone bird. It's missing its little cardboard beak. You see, it's really, there you
Yeah.
go. You get the full splendor. And I really kind of thought I would throw away. But when I went home, I went into labor and I had Claire that night. So then I'm stuck with the ornament, It's a funny tradition in our house. Claire thinks it's the ugliest thing, but I keep it and I hang it up every year in a place of honor because I just happened to buy it on the day that Claire was born. It was in September. So that's it.
Okay. Has everyone shared who wants to share? Well, I just want to make a little announcement here that in July, we are going to be doing a little study on the book Holy Envy. It's the only
January.
January.
You're thinking Christmas in
I
July.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, so if you have a chance to read this, it would help your enjoyment of the 2 sessions. But we're doing it, Holly and I are doing it in such a way that if you haven't read it, that you are certainly, able to come and follow everything. So this is early warning. This the first return to WIS will be January 4th, and that would be part 1. And then part 2 will be the next week with Holly.
So it's Holy Envy and the author is?
Barbara Taylor Brown, and I have your copy out, Kathleen, and I will get it back to you this week.
Okay.
Barbara Brown Taylor. All right, so here I'm just going to insert, if it all works out, the last song that Pema did for us. I think it's called Gaudete Maria. So let's see if we have any success here.
And I have to go because I have somebody stopping by. So I may be gone.
Bye, Carol.
Bye,
Carol.
Yeah.
Bye, Carol.
The second song is Nunc Gaudete Maria, which in Latin means now rejoice, Mary. This song is actually written by a cousin of Alison Bellows, our pianist. This song expresses great joy from old years. And just to let you know that when we sing the Ea, Nunc Gaudete Maria, it means expressing great joy or surprise or haste and telling.
I don't see it.
Now, Mary.
Yes. I'm just going to pause to say I don't know why, but it looks like we'll only get the oral part. But I'm going to try one more time, but I'm not going to belabor this, okay?
Okay.
If it works, it works. And if it doesn't, we just get the oral.
Oops.
The telephone.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send it to you and you'll have everything. Okay.
Okay.
And finally, we have our closing prayer with Liz. And by the way, I want to thank all of you for coming and sharing. And I thought it was really wonderful today.
Well,
Just
thank you.
wonderful. I love. Oh, Sydney, did you want to say something? You're on
I-
mute though. Okay.
I just want to tell you this little story because she reminded me of it. Our best man at our wedding was a really long-term friend of my husband's, and he and his wife have become really good friends. They had one son, Matt, and they're Jewish. And Matt used to say to everybody he met for the first time, "Are you Jewish or are you Christmas?"
That's cute.
Oh. All right, Liz.
It was a nice presentation. Thank you.
Yes.
Dearest Jesus, the light of the world, as we celebrate your birth, may we begin to see the world in the light of understanding you give us. As you chose the lowly, the outcasts, and the poor to receive the greatest news the world has ever known, so may we worship you in meekness of heart. May we also remember all our brothers and sisters in this season of giving and be ever grateful for your love divine. Amen.
Amen.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Good to see you all.
Thank
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you for all the stories.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.